What do we got going on here? Hello, everyone. Oh, I look very green this evening. Very green. It's not so easy being green. Does that get rid of the green? Sometimes I like to be green. What can I tell you? Um, hmm. Should I go this way? Yes, I'm green. Hello, everyone. Hello in TV land. Hello to row backwards. Oh, yes, the Qatari sponsored terrorism. Yes, yes, yes. Well, I've been playing with my settings. I spent more money to upgrade, and it does not look like that has done anything to improve the stream. Alas, what can you do? Um, I just don't know what's going on. Does it look okay to you, the stream? Virtual camera. Let's see here. What does that do? Does that do anything? Start streaming. Connecting. Oh, let's see what this does. Did that do anything? I don't know. I'm just playing. I'm trying to improve the quality, and I honestly, some platforms might downgrade the stream quality. Yeah, that's quite all right. I've got it at 1080. And camera is 720/30. That's right. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Well, that's not too terrible. I think I'm good. How is everyone? Talk to me. I am finally awake. Yes. Yes, after my whirlwind trip, I feel like a rich girl. Well, I am not a rich girl. I am now officially a poor girl. I cannot keep doing all this traveling, taking money out of one's retirement. This is crazy talk, right? So, yes, I have got to focus, darlings. I've got to focus, and start saving and living like a broke aristocrat. Do y'all know what a broke aristocrat is? Does everybody know what a broker? Oh, I actually was supposed to be talking about this today. Anyway, how is everyone? Take a seat. This is Hot Topics Thursday, where we get together and it's the end of the week. We all have a drink. You guys can get whatever you like to drink. I'm finishing up my Pete's coffee. I'll be back in just a sec. Anyway, so people are freaking out about all kinds of things. They're freaking out about the bills. They're freaking out about inflation. Of course, inflation has more to do, as we've talked about, with supply and demand. The supply chains are a little bit messed up right now. And yeah, so in terms of complaints about the video quality, I think it may be with Comcast, so I might cancel Comcast and bundle everything on. Oh, I just saw a fly. That wasn't an orb. That was a. See, you can always tell because flies will fly around fire, and orbs will fly, and fairies will fly away from it, right? When we had the fairy video. Anyway, so I ended up taking a lot of money out of my retirement. We won't say how much, but between, losing money on the stock market and traveling a lot in the last couple of years, I really diminished my retirement to like nothing, basically next to nothing. So as much as I would love to run off and live in Haifa, it's just not realistic. So anyway, I think I'll try and go with Verizon and see if. Why is it saying Oracle of Whimsy Live 22 watching? What's that about? Do I have two streams going on at once? Yeah, I do. I have to get rid of one of these streams. Do I have to give them I don't know. You guys, if you're on the Oracle of Whimsy, I'm saying goodbye to you. Yeah. Delete forever. Yes, I don't know why it's been doing that. It's been doing doubling up there. I know. Off you go. Off you go. Magical Kingdom was splitting. It was also splitting my power, I think. That was one of the problems with the visual. Anyway, so discussion. So many things to talk about. Anyway, so I believe in the concept of Oasis One. I believe in building peace communities, all of that stuff. So I'm glad that I did that. I think it's getting really complicated. I need to step back to the original thesis, which was only 2.5 pages, and go because I feel like I've gotten overwhelmed because I've got all these ideas for what we could do in the negative, etc. But the point is that now I am entering into my broke phase. So I have another channel which is called Broke Aristocrats, and that tends to be people who really want to enjoy our lives. Like we like a good cheese, right? Not the cheap stuff. Though the cheap stuff is good. I like Velveeta. Let's face facts. I have happy memories of Velveeta, right? Admit it. Those cheese cracker things we used to get, they were delish, right? So, but if you're a bit of an aristocrat, you like to spoil your, excuse me, you like to spoil yourself a little bit, right? So my way of spoiling myself is I like to take myself on vacations all over the world because I don't want to miss anything. I have this fear that I'm going to die and never see the world. Oh, hi, Tani. Say hi to Tani Acosta. She's a therapist. She helps supportive therapy for people in the transgender community. She's also an advocate. She's available for speaking engagements and empowerment workshops and all that good stuff. Anyway, Tani Acosta, and I think she may be under Deborah's talent management. Joyce Pietres, great astrologer, also in the house. Good to see you. Hi, Desiree Robato. Thank you for your help. And Dylan is here. Deanna Pharma. Oh my goodness, everybody. So basically, what's happening is that what I learned when I was in Israel is that, I used to live pretty simply in Israel. Like when I was, my friends, when they're hungry, they don't eat like Americans where it's like mashed potatoes, gravy, vegetables, a salad, a main course. It's like people are just eat much smaller meals, I've noticed. They wake up in the morning, they might have yogurt, egg, fruit, excuse me. And then for lunch, you might have something substantial, you know, um, like chicken rice, something like that. And then for dinner, it's something very light, like soup or a cheese sandwich or tuna sandwich, something very light. So, and this is my advice to anybody who's living alone, is just keep your life really simple. You know, the first message I got in my meditation last night for people who are concerned about chaos in the world and the fact that everything is turning to chaos. The first thing I got in my meditation is that it's very important for us all to not take too much on our plate. One of the cards that's been coming up a lot for the group private sessions over and over again is the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords is a card that has to do with a person being possibly overextended. You know, you could be overextended by too many, excuse me, too many bills, right? One of the things that happens to us when we're doing well financially is we start spending a lot more money than we did when we were frugal. Anybody ever have that experience where you were a poor student and you knew how to live on ramen? Right. And then you start making more money and more money and more money and more money. And then what happens? You have a lifestyle change, right? And then you forget what it was like to be frugal and to keep a budget, and you just start living high on the hog because you've got money, but then the money goes away, right? So what we've learned, what researchers have learned about money is that most people do fairly well between 50 and 100K. That's like, for most people, if it's a major city, you might want to do a little bit more, like 120K. But after that, people start to get depressed and overwhelmed that the money is actually too much responsibility. And a person may, in fact, subconsciously try to get rid of the money by buying things they don't want, just to get rid of the money, because they may actually have even anxiety about it. There's too much money around, right? So there's an actual type of anxiety. Anybody who grew up poor knows about this. I got to get rid of the money before someone snatches it, right? Spend the money before I lose the money, before it gets stolen or something like that. So we're talking about the energy today of the Eight of Swords, the Eight of Swords. This can also be, if you are someone who's, excuse me, overextended with your, sorry, I got water down my throat. If you're overextended, say you're overextended in your subscriptions right now, except for the Oracle of Whimsy, you should keep that subscription, right? But I had a client recently. She was doing great nonprofit work, right? She was doing really great nonprofit work. But the problem is her days were filled with all this service work, which meant there was no time left for her to make any money. And so she wound up this successful, overwhelmed person who was broke. Does that make sense? So let's sit and think about this for a minute and ask ourselves if we are using our time correctly. Oh, there's no ads. Good. I can't control the ads. I told them moderate, and evidently moderate is too much. So I don't know. So I guess my question to you is, because this card has come up a lot, is do you feel that you are constructive in your endeavors right now, what you want to achieve in your life? And if not, why not? What is obstructing you from your goals? Right? So I really wanted to see Dubai, and man, did I, I got to have that experience, right? But I'm a broke aristocrat. It's not like I could spend 5 days in a five-star hotel tipping everybody in Dubai. That was the fun of it. I checked in at 7 p.m. and I checked out at 6:30 in the morning. I got to have that five-star experience, tip, 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 take me to the airport, got to see the Dubai Mall, got to see the five-star breakfast, but was too tired to eat it. And so I just kept ordering cappuccino, cappuccino, cappuccino. Yay, I had my five-star experience in Dubai, back to my studio in Portland, Oregon, back to living like a broke aristocrat. The joke is that the country of Qatar has as much money as people think the Jewish people have. We don't have money like this. We don't have money like what you see in Dubai. It's like, I thought there was money in Tel Aviv. Not even close, man. That's not money. Money is what you see in Dubai. But so now I'm just trying to find my notes for you guys. So now the message from Spirit is that everything in life is a season, and a time for everything under heaven. And this too shall pass. A time for every purpose under heaven is really the way we have to kind of meditate about it, because this is the time of war and destruction. We've talked about the Kali energy coming in, and that Trump brings that Kali energy. So what can we do in order to survive this energy of Kali destruction? And how this person, the president, is somebody who brings chaos. Now, there are different archetypes that describe this character, and one is Alegba, right? And Alegba is part of the Yoruba tradition. And we've talked about the Yoruba a lot because Yoruba are one of the most ancient peoples in the world. And they're also thought, many of them, to be Jewish, the lost tribe of the Jewish people. So many Black Americans come from the Yoruba. For example, Meghan Markle is Yoruba. Is she Igbo or Yoruba? But you have the lost tribes of the Igbo and the Yoruba. But what's interesting is that you start to see the archetypes of the Yoruba and the Igbo in the Torah and also in the Tarot. And this is the original trickster. It's a dark aspect of the magician. Sometimes he appears as Satan or the adversary, and he is childlike and mischievous, and he likes to go off and have fun and do things that he shouldn't be doing. So when people worship Alegba, they tend to put the toys on the ground for him because he is like a child, right? He's like a 3-year-old child. And so the worship of Alegba is usually done by creating an altar on the ground, because children tend to crawl around on the ground. And he's given toys and things, coins, toys that a child would like. This is a classic Yoruba image of Elegba, Papa Elegba, and he will meet you in the crossroads of your life. So we bring this up because Elegba is one of the archetypes that Donald Trump draws on, in the sense that he is the child. He is the bad boy. He's the bad boy who gets into trouble, who likes to, uh, he does things he should not be doing, right? And so he survives in the Yoruba Ifa tradition, but he also survives in the Santeria tradition. And in the Santeria tradition, he is often seen as the hobo or the naughty magical child who's always getting into things and always getting into mischief. People often think about America as being the spirit of Elegba with the cowboy hat and the big guns and our cigarettes and our this, that, and the other. And we're like John Wayne. And it's that immature, childlike, troublemaking aspect of Elegba. So the chaos maker, right? The chaos maker, the magician, the trickster, the Satan, the adversary. Satan also likes to take drugs, right? So if they're not doing alcohol, they may take something that's similar to alcohol. So these are ancient archetypes. Interesting to see the DNA coming back on the lost tribe of, I think it's Zachariah, and how much of Zachariah's tribe winds up in Nigeria, which I think is really cool because I've always been really attracted. I've always felt a calling or an attraction to the Yoruba, and then to find out that they may be related to the Hebrew tribes is really exciting. All right. So, and then the other thing I wanted to mention, in addition to Elegba, is that the other aspect is the Queen of Wands, right? So what do we know about the Queen of Wands and the earliest imagery of the Queen of Wands? So a lot of different characters have inspired the Queen of Wands throughout history. I'll show you the earliest image of the Queen of Wands comes again from the Yoruba of Nigeria, and we can see here a lovely image. Some of what you'll see, for example, the sunflower, signifying sun, honey, dripping with honey. These are the symbols of fertility that we see. But we see other aspects. She's also been associated with the courtesans of New Orleans, women who were very beautiful, who often were kept as mistresses, and some had powers. Beyonce is considered to be a daughter of Oshun. She often presents as Oshun in her imagery. So if you were looking at Beyonce in Lemonade, she is really sending a homage to the beauty of Oshun dancing on the streets of New Orleans, right? That beautiful spirit of the goddess of beauty and fertility that is associated. And of course, she got all those awards because the goddess blessed her. I really love the fact that she was able to use the New Orleans imagery along with fertility, sexuality, etc., in ways that were really positive, uplifting, and really kind of did a nice modern spin on that imagery of Oshun, right? The other thing about Oshun is that she's associated with the sweet water, and the sweet waters are associated with the veins and the arteries of our of the earth. And so this is why a lot of shamans will be concerned about the earth's being contaminated, or the earth's water supply being contaminated, because if it's contaminated, it's questionable whether or not we could survive, because the mother of land animals is Oshun, and the mother of the sea animals is Yamaya, right? The mother of the sea. So here again is some nice imagery of Yamaya. Okay, so the reason that I use that as an example for people is just to say that, you know, every archetype has a beautiful aspect, and every archetype has a negative aspect. And for Donald Trump, he has both the spoiled child who wants to eat candy and do whatever he likes. He definitely has that Elegba aspect, but he also has an aspect where they say he is very much his father is Elegba and his mother is Oshun, in the sense that he must have his gold, right? He must have lots and lots and lots and lots of gold, right? He jewels and beauty, and to be dripping of gold, yes. So that is very much and concern about being on the stage and being involved in possibly the sex trade, right? Because this is one of the aspects of Oshun, is that she's often too generous, taken advantage of. The courtesans are often worshipped. Oshun. And you have this aspect with Donald Trump, which is kind of like the courtesan, you know, Trump businesses and Trump's modeling agency, which was under investigation for human trafficking. And now he himself could be the victim of some kind of scheme where he now has to pay the piper, just as people once had to pay him. And so it's a dog eat dog world he lives in. Anybody want to talk about those archetypes that have been coming up? The last thing I wanted to say, the last thing I wanted to include in that is that the Queen of Wands was also depicted as the gypsy in Spain. And that had to do with the fact that wands are territorial. We've talked about wands being the only, well, I don't believe that's true, but a lot of people believe that wands are the only way you can tell time in card charts, that everything else is crap. Only go with wands. Because why? Why would you argue that the only way to tell time is with wands? You can't do it with water. You can't do it with, you know, other, even though I think you can do pentacles and swords, but yeah, those are the oldest archetypes go back to Oshun. You know, if you're talking about Queen of Wands, it's the gypsy who the Spanish gypsy. She only had a board. Well, how big was the board? It was 2 feet by 2 feet, right? That was all she had, and she would stomp on her little board. And MySpace, cha cha cha, MySpace, cha cha cha, and that was really the story of, you know, these are the images of. Did you guys ever see the movie Happy Go Lucky? What is it called? Flamenco, right? Yeah. So the flamenco dancer was establishing her space. And in the movie Happy Go Lucky, y'all see Happy Go Lucky? It's pretty cool. But in the movie Happy Go Lucky, they get a lecture on culture. the culture of what it is to be a flamenco dancer, which of course is more than they had anticipated. But
Come in, ladies, quick as you can. Do you want to put your bags in a couple of places?
Sorry, we're late. Sorry.
No problem. It's very Spanish to be late. Just take your places, then we can start the class. Here. I was just introducing myself to the people who don't know me. It's lovely to see you again, and lovely that you bring a friend. Welcome in my class. So, my name is Rosita Santos, and I'm coming from Sevilla, in Spain. Or Seville, what you say here. What is famous for our bullfighting, our beautiful oranges, what you English people turn into disgusting marmalade, and also is the birth home of flamenco. So, then everybody is ready, I hope. So feet in parallel, hip distance apart. Pulling up from the waist, opening across the chest, shoulder blades drawing down to the spine, arms relaxed, and taking the head over to your right. Feeling a lovely stretch up the neck.
So basically, she teaches them how to fight for their space.
Front. Pressing, pressing, pressing. Keeping the tension, keeping the strength, but fluid as well. Then lifting up again from the elbows, like the eagle spreading his wings. Beautiful, angry, ferocious. And guys, when you're lifting up your eagle wings, remember that this dance comes from the pain, from the suffering of los gitanos, and what you say, the gypsies. I know these were not politically correct, but these guys, they've been squashed down by society for centuries, centuries. And they say, we don't need this. We got pride. We got dignity, we got art, we got flamenco. They say, this, my space, my space, my space, my space. Everybody do this. 1, 2, my space. And again, my space. Vamos, vamos. My space. And again, my space. Vamos, vamos. My space. Win minute, my space. But guys,
All right. All right. So what did you learn from that? What did you learn? What did you learn? The point is that this is an archetype, right? And so, Steve, when we look at these cards and when we meditate on these cards, these are the characters and images that we want you to think about. And so when we talk about this archetype, Steve, yes, my space, when we talk about the Queen of Wands, we're talking about it being a very ancient archetype of maybe a poor girl who got pushed around, got taken advantage of by the wrong man, and now she's going to fight for what is hers. I know my rights, even if it means dancing, even if all I have is a 2x2 board. So there's a little bit of an insecurity with this character, a little bit insecure. And that is the archetype we think about as the mother or the maternal, the animus of Donald Trump, right? Is that he is the wounded Queen of Wands, right? And then he also has this aspect of being a legba, right? So he has both aspects. So for that reason, we find ourselves at the mercy of the drug addict, right? That's the way families operate. They're at the mercy of the drug addict, or they're at the mercy of the alcoholic. And we can't make the alcoholic happy. We can't make the drug addict happy. All we can do is take care of ourselves. And so if you're somebody who comes from a family of origin, if you're somebody that comes from a place that's difficult, this president could be um, triggering you, because those are the archetypes, right? A spoiled little kid screaming his head off in the Walmart, and nothing you do can control him. And the angry, temperamental woman who's demanding that she be respected, and she wants the gold, and she wants the best life, and she's the drama queen who's going to stand on the stage and play the victim, right? So all of that goes into what we think about when we think about these archetypes. I'm triggered enough to drink. Well, it is Thursday, and Taco Tuesdays and Hot Topics Thursdays are. Oh, thank you for your membership, Marina Wells. Much gratitude. That's kind of what we do here. We drink, we do the cards, and we talk about, how these things come together and how they trigger us. But what I would say to you is, number one, get your home in order. So when you feel like there's chaos around you, your home should be spotless. So can you eat off the floor of your home? So number one is to have your home be spotless. And the first part of that is to declutter. So we're in the time of spring, and the time of spring is the time of decluttering, right? So a time for every season, a time for every purpose under heaven. I think I think that was what we were starting with today, was to understand that war is part of the season. So that everything changes, and that what you see happening today will pass. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. So you can read the entire, you can Google it. It's Ecclesiastes 3. It's quite beautiful. And the point is that, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Oh, thank you, to row back. Ask backwards. That's very kind of you. Thank you for the donation. So the takeaway here is that before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After chop wood, carry water. I mean, one of the reasons I'm never going to get rich is because when I have a lot of money, I spend a lot of money. When I don't have a lot of money, I know how to live on rice and beans. But the advice would be to try and keep yourself as stable as possible, regardless of what's going on in the outside world, and to declutter as much as possible. The other great thing about decluttering is that you will find missing things, and then you get to decide what you want to hold on to and what you need to let go of. It's like going through all the pockets, and then you wind up finding all this money. You're donating clothes to charity, and then, oh, I found my old iPad. Oh, I found my old, as you go through. So now is a time you may want to be selling things, but clear out. Like, my home is starting to get cluttered again, and I just see a bunch of stuff that I have to get rid of. I just, to try and be as minimal as possible during times of stress, and to try and keep your home as clean as possible at this time as well. Because when we feel like there is chaos around us, and when we feel like we don't have any control, if our own life is out of control, that's only going to compound it. And then we get depressed, you go to bed, and you don't want to get out of bed, right? So the takeaway here is to keep your life as simple as possible, and to not change it, but to keep it as consistent as possible. Focus a lot on community at this time in simple ways, coming together for simple potlucks and simple meals, and work that has meaning. We are not saying have a simple life in the sense of have a life where you don't do anything meaningful with your life. I mean, Golda Meir had one dress, right? She only had one dress. We're saying that move towards balance, move towards the center, move towards simplicity, avoid conflict with others, and focus on developing meaningful friendships and sharing what you have with the world. You know, and if you do that, you'll come through these times. All right, we're going to go ahead. We'll do the Empath prayer. If anybody needs a healing at this time, you can go ahead and mention your name, and we will include you in our healing. My bell has gone missing somewhere, so I won't be able to give the bell. A poetry book out. Beautiful. Okay, so for those people who want to receive a healing at this time, we'll go ahead and just mention your name or that person you love, and then we will pray for them. Let's go ahead. We will bring in the Empath prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. And for those of you who are requesting healings at this time, both for you and for those you love, we come together at this time and we pray that you receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and spirit. And together collectively, we say, Amen, Amen, Amen. May all souls be healed. Okay, so I thought we would blitz away. One of the questions is about the big bill, the big beautiful bill that Donald Trump, I guess it passed by one vote in the House. Is that correct? They actually did not have the keep the bill. The Trump bill was modified. He was not able to get his original bill. I guess he had to modify it. So last night, to save face, he threw out a bunch of stuff and then kept it's part of this game, right? So let me take a look at the bill. I think it probably would pass the Senate. Evidently, some stuff had to be toned down to get it to pass in the House. confusion. There's confusion in the Senate about what we are signing. What are we signing? That is, there's some confusion because the bill was modified. So he had the big, excuse me, he had the big, beautiful bill. And then nobody agreed to it. So then last night they changed it to the bill. They got rid of a bunch of stuff. And so now there could be some, he called screaming at people. Oh, interesting. Well, I heard actually they got rid of some stuff. So I'd be curious about what it was, but looks to me like there's confusion in the Senate. What are we signing? Murkowski and everybody like, what the heck is this? And grief. I think that the Senate is not happy with themselves. You know, that would be my interpretation, that the Senate is not happy with them, with themselves, in the sense that they may not be totally clear what they're doing anymore or why they're agreeing to it. They may, this is confusion, lunacy, and grief. So that leads me to want to know, if you feel that way, then why are you signing? It's this, people are exhausted by Trump. He wore out his parents and now he's wearing everybody else out. It's as if they are giving him what he wants simply to avoid, they can't fight him anymore. There's just a sheer exhaustion here. That's what it looks like. It really does. Five of Cups would also indicate that people may not be happy with the bill or happy with themselves. It's good for the opposition, which means that it's good for Trump because he has a point to make. Sign my bill, sign my medical papers. He's used to getting what he wants by breaking somebody down. The issue of whether or not they will fight him, there appears to be a war breaking out between the Senate and the pro-Trump constituency, because an opposition is with him in Two of Wands and the Senate is with the Magician. So that tells me there's a war that the Senate could call for impeachment. The Senate could, the articles, I know that they're talking about the articles of impeachment in the House, and there's a rift that could form between Trump and the Senate, just because of this power thing that's happening between the Magician and the Two of Wands. He's very, he is the most stubborn person I think I've ever done cards on. It's like the video I showed you. My space, boom, boom. My space, boom, boom. Queen of Wands, right? It is very much influenced by the gypsy on her board, right? So he has that aspect a lot, where he fights for for what he wants, and he will not stop until he gets it. Magician is an aspect of Alegba, as is the Satan or the trickster, the person who performs tricks. So a magician in reversed could be the negative aspects of Alegba and the trickster. So the takeaway here is that he is the monster that we feed. You know, you start off resisting him and then you become so exhausted you can't fight him anymore. And then he ends up winning because people simply can't fight him anymore. That's the best way to describe these cards, to be honest with you. I mean, it's like, what are we signing? I'm gonna win. You're gonna sign this, and then you have this magician where it's like, well, wait a minute. You have this change that starts to happen potentially with the Senate. The other and but that opposition, he is smooth waters ahead and two of wands. So his partners, him and his partners, he has an agenda, and him and his partners do very well with his agenda. That would be my interpretation. Yeah. Oh, a beautiful girl in Dubai with red hair making money. And you know what? If I was younger, maybe. I'm 62. I think it's those days are over. Though I gotta say, the taxi drivers in East Jerusalem, somebody needs to have a conversation with them because it's ridiculous. It's just like, they're just very inappropriate. And it happens every time I get into a taxi driver and get into a taxi in East Jerusalem. You know, where are you? What's your name? You want to be my girlfriend? It's like, and I thought, well, I'm 62 now, so thank God I won't have those problems when I get into a taxi in East. Sure enough, hey, you're nice. I'm 62 years old. Leave me alone. He was like begging, but and it was like a 45-minute drive all the way to Tel Aviv. He's like, I'm really good in bed. It's like, ah, this happened to me. Like getting into taxis in East Jerusalem. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Just get me to from point A to point B. It's just very bizarre. And I was a little worried when I got to Dubai. I'm like, oh, I hope it's not going to be like East Jerusalem where everybody's just crazy. And it was totally kosher. I didn't have to get nervous when I got into the taxi or anything. Because in some countries, if you're a woman alone, you got to be nervous. Yeah, they'll hit on your grandmother. And I'm like, how old are you? And he's like, I'm 52. I'm like, okay, I'm 10 years older than you. Does that, you're trying to gross the guy out. It didn't gross him out. I'm so, just get me. I don't want to have this conversation. I just, yeah, I don't know. It's just there. I hear it's like that also. And I've had friends that went to Egypt and they're like, oh my God, the taxi driver. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe the tourist industry, what is it, the bureau, the tourism people, they need to be notified, like retrain your taxi drivers or something. I don't know. Okay, Trump wants a birthday parade, according to Georgie. Will Trump's birthday parade be successful? I don't know. It sounds pretty silly and pathetic. You know, why can't we do what they do in Saudi Arabia? Because this is a democracy, and that is not a good use of our money. You're killing kids in USA and taking away their peanut butter, but you want a frickin', I mean, God, talk about someone that has no priorities. I'm sorry, but all right. Trump's birthday parade, Night of Swords, bad weather, storms, or possible protest. You know, it could people are sick of the lap of luxury while they are poor, and thief getting away. So I see protest. When is this going to happen? In June? it might not go well at all. Not with a Knight of Swords. That can be police unrest, like bring out the horses. Seven of Swords is a thief trying to get away with it. So the people are like on his tail after the thief. Not pretty. The hope and the fear that the sun will come out, and the Trump birthday parade, Four of Cups. Well, he's not happy at all. Could be bad weather, could be storms and uprisings, and then he's going to have to go back down into that little shelter in the basement. I didn't like it down there. I mean, it's kind of like messy, and yeah, he had to go down to the bomb shelter, didn't he, once or twice? Oh, 2.5 times. I only went 2.5 times, right? That's what he said. I think they broke into the White House. He got dangerously close to the mob taking him out, and he had to be taken down into the basement. But it wasn't that bad. It was more an inspection. I went in briefly to inspect. You were taken down because they broke through the fence, the barriers, and they were coming to kill you, right? So when you have that Knight of Swords moving into 7th position as the immediate environment, that's a helter-skelter. That's a violent card. It can indicate a violent disruption. A thief who flees in the night could indicate that it's such a violent situation that it's broken up, or that people that have to flee. But I would say that those cards are terrible, and that it's very likely we're going to see some kind of protest or social unrest. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just don't know. I mean, how could you support him right now? It looks like a lot of people are losing their jobs, and yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay, so then the next question that people had been asking had to do with whether or not the impeachment hearings would start to happen. You know, would anything come of this? The question, well, what do you guys think? Let's take a look. Is there grounds for impeachment yet? Let's take a look. Impeachment, 6 of Swords, 4 of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles. It goes very slowly. Then 8 of Wands. Could pick up steam sometime this summer. This summer, there could be a real investigation. Actually, I would say misappropriation of funds, or something to do with money, which is the only reason they would ever take him out. But 4 of Pentacles would have to do with miserliness or pinching on the money. So, if people are worried about their finances. The other thing coming up is that there's a possibility of a new enemy in town. This is something that you guys are going to start hearing more about in the coming days, is that, you have Superman, and then you have the Kryptonite, and then you have the, who's the enemy of Superman? But anyway, there is something that's coming up here about the possibility of like a Superman coming in that completely overhauls the political system. Just somebody comes in and takes out Trump. And it takes up it builds steam sometime around this summer. Though I think it's ultimately his health that's going. I think it's health that will probably take Trump out, just because he's 80 years old. Lex Luthor, yeah. This is kind of a Lex Luthor gets taken out by Superman, because the images that have been coming up lately in the cards that a lot of readers have been picking up is kind of almost like a spiritual warfare. Um, the kind of energy you see with Lex Luthor, that well, Knight of Pentacles would be it's over the end. Eight of Wands would be a rapidness to it. Also, you talk about his birthday. Knight of Swords again would be a rapid or a violent change. The issue that people had with him was miserliness. The Miser's card, Four of Pentacles. The issue that things begin to turn for him rapidly with an Eight of Wands. And then over the issue of miserliness, people become frightened. We don't know who Superman is, but there is this force or this person who comes in, and it's kind of like the Messiah energy or Superman that comes in. But it does feel like what we have to look forward to is sweeping changes or a turn away from this presidency. And it's mostly economic. But if you're asking me who it is, I don't know, but it's come up frequently. He presents as the King of Wands. Now, King of Wands is another interesting imagery. Its most ancient imagery in the Yoruba would be Chango. So if you're asking Dr. Whimsy, I'd like to see the earliest images of what are the earliest images of the King of Wands? So that would be Chango. Chango sometimes has aspects similar to the King of Swords, but he is not the King of Swords. King of Swords is the King of Swords is Ogun, because he forges metal. Even though they both have that lightning aspect. But this is Chango. You can see that beautiful red, fire and red. And he is passion personified, in love with Oshun, like the narcissist and the borderline, they say. But just it's a very passionate love he has for his lady Oshun. But you can see that beautiful fire imagery you get with Chango, and there he is a messianic figure. He comes of the fire, he comes out of the fire, often of war. And the other thing I would say is that he lives on as King David and Judah, the tribe of David, right? Judah from the tribe of Judah. And he is seen as the lion, right? So let me see if I can get some kind of modern imagery of that for you guys. So this would be like some cool modern imagery of the King of Wands, fire imagery. It's interesting to also note that he is associated with the lion. And the lion is used a lot in the imagery of kings, right? The Lion of Judah, Braveheart, right? Here's a nice ancient imagery of Judah, the son of Jacob. So these are the oldest images we have of Judah. Judah often is tested having to make morally questionable decisions, and then he ultimately has to take responsibility. Not to be mistaken with Judah in the New Testament. This is Judah, the son of Jacob. Two different Judah. It's a common name in the Jewish community. Yeah, so that was the story of Judah. Good looking guy. All right. So what is emerging, and the Messiah is thought to come from the tribe of Judah, right? That he will be from the seed from the house of David, right? So, in answer to the question, the images that have been showing up, that Spirit keeps showing us over and over again, is like the King of Wands, that some kind of very powerful or passionate person comes and revives the United States, may revive our values, and it kind of snaps us out of this collective. But he always presents as the King of Wands, so we can try and find out who that is if you like. He did come up also with Biden, that Biden would be replaced by the King of Wands, that he would advocate for the King of Wands. And I don't even know who that would be, but it's such a powerful imagery that comes up in the cards over and over and over again. And it's like, is it Gavin Newsom? Well, he's kind of sexy, right? He has that kind of sexy, passionate, brave heart energy that you could see with the Judah. Other people say it's Buttigieg because Buttigieg is very ethical. Do we have real leadership in the Democratic Party right now, male or female? And that's the other question. Harris, maybe she needs to go be the governor of California for a while. I don't know. What do you guys think? All right. Who is the King of Wands? Who is the mystery man that comes and saves us from ourselves? I'll do a Celtic cross because I'm really curious. He's come up like 3-4 times in the last week. It's like, okay, time to find out what this is about. I don't know. Definitely coming up. Who is he? Ace of Pentacles, 5 of Swords. This guy is a fighter. This is somebody who will not stop until he wins. This is somebody who is not intimidated. This is a true brave heart. We are going to see a time of leadership that is fearless. That is the best way to describe it. We're going to see American leadership emerging that is very sane and very much takes control of the situation. The karma here is the 5 of Swords. No, I will not step down. No, I will not let you take our. No, I will not. No, this is someone who will not rest, and they will not sit down, and they will not be silent. 5 of Swords takes the weapons of war away from the enemies. So it's quite auspicious. It would indicate that more than just, I'll move this back a little bit, more than just one person. It's saying that there's a collective energy coming in to the Democratic Party of it's not just the Democrats, it's also physical conservatives and other groups that are simply coming in and taking control of what is chaos. They may perceive of a lack of leadership or chaos. The other thing is Ace of Pentacles moving into base matter would indicate that even though people are hurting financially, they are willing to fund this kind of a political leader. But this is somebody who is not intimidated or easily broken down by Trump. This is somebody who keeps fighting, and will win. 10 of Wands is ready for a heavy load. This is a really tough person that's coming in. Heartbroken could be somebody who served in the military and was wounded. Could be a military vet or somebody who has fought and who has worked hard and is potentially been wounded. And issues of health came up for this person. And yeah, this person had a former military life, may have been a soldier, fought, had health challenges, has a heavy load, was heartbroken. The old, it's like creating a new pope. Their old life is gone as they go into. Oh, this is like Buddha Judge sounds like this. Yeah, I mean, like he wasn't wounded, but he talked about PTSD. And he is a former soldier, and he does have that strength to fight. Well, he had psychological trauma after the war. He was in Iraq and Afghanistan, right? This is that could also be his hesitation to continue in politics, Buddha Judge, because of the psychological toll, his marriage, etc. This is someone 9 of Wands who may feel hesitate to go in and do this. Flees like a thief. This is somebody that it is their karma to be a leader, and they may be. It's like the person who is in the conclave and was sitting there praying, uh, Pope Paul II, and was that it? He prayed as hard as he could, don't pick me, don't pick me, don't pick me, right? The conclave, right? They pick a pope. So most people would be, pick me, pick me, pick me. But, the person who gets picked is the person who's usually like, oh God, don't pick me. Oh God, I got this bad feeling they're going to pick me, right? So it does. Mark Kelly's another one that would be interesting. But yeah, soldier, Knight of Swords, flees like a thief, could feel trapped by the situation, is very strong, has been transformed, heartbroken, heavy load lay ahead. His opposition is confused. There could be also a feeling here that Trump has become delusional, that we could see rapid mental decline in Trump in the coming days, like boom, boom, rapidly. Like it could be the same like when Biden got sick. And with Biden, it didn't look so much as Alzheimer's as just that he was ill, that he had a virus and that he was physically sick, and then your brain shuts down. That's not dementia. Whereas with Trump, he's done so much stuff to hurt his brain that he actually looks like he could have dementia because he's got that 7 of Cups in the opposition. And so this is a question about Lex Luthor versus this person that keeps coming up in the cards who saves the day, that looks like a King of Wands. And his opposition presents as delusional, which is what the 7 of Cups is. And so that would be saying that Donald Trump becomes increasingly delusional. If he cannot complete his term, then it's going to be a great opportunity for Democrats to come in and take the presidency, to take the Senate and House too, if we can. But I'm going to go ahead and predict that Trump begins to has a mental health decline happening rapidly, and this is one of the main problems. But man, whoever this is, they can fight. They're a fighter, whoever they are. Knight of Swords. I would be concerned that this person might even have some PTSD, which I know that Buttigieg just talked about that. Hopes and fears, Queen of Cups would indicate emotionalism also, and the emotional health. And then the final outcome gets the crown. The High Priestess would indicate most likely that this person will be the president or will receive the crown or the wisdom. I don't think Trump's going to finish the term just because his cards always suggest something happens with mental decline or something. I always get the same thing also. If this is Buttigieg, he doesn't want to run, and a lot of it has to do with his commitments to his family, codependency, not wanting to break with his family, not he would die if he got a divorce. Some men are never meant to be single, and he's one of them. He simply could not. He's in such a serious symbiotic relationship with his family. It is the biggest obstacle. They say the biggest blessing in your life is the biggest curse and obstacle sometimes. Your children, right? Biggest blessing, biggest curse. Your spouse. And for Buttigieg, his cards are very auspicious. Buttigieg is very auspicious for the presidency, but I'm telling you, I've looked at these cards half a dozen times for him. His codependent relationship with his marriage, which, by the way, I think it's absolutely fine. I think that he is completely, wrapped up in his marriage. But somebody who's this involved, I don't know. I think being the president is going to be very difficult for him and his family. It's a tough sell. The only way he's going to run is if nobody else can do it. And they're getting to a point where people are feeling that Buttigieg, you're the only one, but he always gets that devil card, codependency in his marriage, and also devastation. He went through something the first time he ran where I can tell you as a remote viewer, because I use heart-centered where I get to be the other person. And I can tell you my marriage was on thin ice after that run. My husband and I were on thin ice, and I after that I was like, that scared the hell out of me. I got so close to divorce, losing my family, I would lose my life. Yeah, so the Chaz was that I'm nothing without my marriage and my children. So because it shook me, you snap out of your denial, like I could lose this all. And so that's what happened to me as him when I put myself in his shoes. And so when I sat down and had the meeting with Madam Vice President as Buttigieg, I had to ask her to find somebody else because of what was going on. So the fact that this is happening again, this juxtaposition, and here again, this fear of his family falling apart and then fleeing like a thief, what the heck are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? If people are saying the only chance we have of winning is you have to run for presidency and you're looking at a tower, grief, and codependent, I'm like, I don't know what I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do if I were him. I would probably keep doing what he's doing. Find someone else. Find someone else. Find someone else. Thank you, T-Bird 2191 for that generous donation. Much appreciated. I do appreciate that. What do you guys think about this? Is Tammy Duckworth an American? Born in America? She was on a U.S. base, right? I don't feel that this is an old politician. I feel that something new is coming. That's the best way to describe it. Something new is coming, a new energy. And thank you, Rainy Horvath. That's very kind of you. I just want to check on Trump's health one more time because I know we've looked in the past, but that surprised me to see the eighth house being a 7 of cups, because that would indicate delusion. And they're saying, a lot of psychiatrists, that he's really starting to like fall asleep at events, talk to himself. Just want to do quick 4 cards. Trump's health in the next couple of months. You know, he has good doctors, but the question is whether or not he's going to do what the doctors tell him to do. He has to be on a very rigorous program. So this is a guy who was probably put on a very strict diet, stabilized his blood sugar, stabilized his weight. 7 of Pentacles is good because it would show mastery, but his opposition is 6 of Cups. He wants to go back to the old ways of doing something. This nostalgia that comes in with him in the past. Go out, hang out with friends, go play golf, you know. It's that desire to, it comes up with him a lot. Hopes and fears that he will lose his mind, you know, that he will be the bumbling fool, that you know, that it was a good run, but that the run is coming to an end. He believes, whether we believe it or not, he believes that what he is doing is ultimately going to be good for the country. You know, this guy believes his own stuff. His biggest obstacle is indulgence, temperance, also emotional instability, Knight of Swords. And a fear of loss of power and having his power taken away, 9 of Wands. Yeah, I've always worried about coronary artery disease with him, diabetes, and brain health. But in terms of his overall issues, it's a temptation to engage in bad habits from the past, temper, sobriety issues. It could be like an addiction of some type, you know, temper and sobriety. Hopes and fears, the Page of Wands, a new change is coming. Something about the business of the economy. Something, you know, he places his ego very much. His ego is very attached to the economy. It's interesting that the final outcome is a 9 of Wands, which would indicate that his world is becoming increasingly small. And also that he may fear, this is the guy that's afraid he's going to get taken off to a rubber room. You know, 9 of Wands is the person that literally gets taken to the rubber room. So we could be seeing a restriction of Trump's activities in the coming days, which I think is kind of interesting. Yeah, that he becomes more and more restricted. All right, everybody, that is all I have for you. It was fun hanging out with you, talking about the archetypes. Remember, keep your life simple, keep your home spotless, minimize, focus on keeping control of your own life. Keep your bills light, keep your world simple. This too shall pass. And pray. Prayer is powerful. Pray for yourself, pray for others, pray for peace, pray for clarity, pray for the people that are in war, the hostages, the innocent victims in Gaza, Ukraine, etc. The more we pray and we keep a simple daily lifestyle, taking care of our friends, being good people, I think the better for all of us. All right, if you're trying to get in for a tarot reading with me, you can find the information below. If you need to see me as a naturopathic doctor or medical intuitive, you can also book that below through Booksy. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out, my loves. We will see you next time. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for everything. Much appreciation. Bye. Bye, Renee. Bye, Valerie, Carolyn, Elizabeth, Linda, Ven. Peace out.